Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cyclone. It's time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. As you can see, we're doing part number 2 of the final run. It looks like since the last scenario, after arriving at Ribblehead, we ran over the viaduct, the Ribblehead viaduct, and returned over the upline to await departure in Platform 1. Why didn't we get to do that? That would have been neat to do. You are required to perform the return working towards Leeds, calling it Ribblehead, which is where we start, Horton-in-Ribblesdale, and finally, Settle. As there are no further northbound workings, you pretty much have the line to yourself, so be sure to take in the breathtaking North Yorkshire countryside as you descend the incline. It's not exactly that breathtaking in this format, but okay, let's go ahead and get started on that. Again, without headlights. Good evening, driver. Weren't we here already? After performing a reversing move here at Ribblehead, you have arrived back into Platform 1. Please release the doors to allow passengers to board for the return journey. I have done that, as you may have heard. So we just have to wait for our passengers to board. We'll be on our way, and you can see we have 13 minutes to do this drive to Settle. So this is indeed a quickie. Let's get ourselves set up. Apparently, the other driver left the reverser out, as I guess everyone has their own reverser handle in the train world. So yeah, that makes sense. We'll leave the brakes applied for right now so we don't have any movement. We're at the northern Ribblehead platform, and we are now expecting no AI on this service. There might be one somewhere, but just sitting in a siding having finished its own day, but we don't expect any services heading north at this time. We should be the final train. Leaving Ribblehead. Entering a 60-mile-per-hour speed limit. I like the lights here. Lights, ladies and gentlemen. So as you see, I was wrong. We were not at the other end of the platform. We actually changed platforms. Let's say that's what I meant. Let's assume that's what I meant. Heading towards Horton-in-Ribblesdale. We have to be there by, looks like 6 minutes after the hour. We're a little less than 4.5 miles away. Now as we get up to close to our speed limit, that 4 minutes should go very, very quickly. Or 4 miles. Because we're going about a mile a minute at that point. So I think being early is very possible here. I've taken the throttle completely off so I can manage speed on the downhill. Let's see how well the brakes work here. Ooh, I like that. Very, very tiny brake has a small effect. I really like that. Makes our job just a little bit easier here, not having to go back and forth 5 miles every time. Can I speed through this? No, I can't. We're just going to go ahead and do this the normal way then. %4 will not do it, so 7 will do it. We're going to do this like a Class 377 cruise control. We got 1 mile to work with, and that's what we're doing. Oh, that's way too much brake. So as you see, I'm trying to concentrate on my speed more than giving commentary at this point. We've already seen the discussion points of what is on this part of the route in the prior scenario, 2 scenarios back. So I'm not going to worry too much about giving details. You can refer back to my Tuesday video for that. Given the shortness of the scenario, I want to make sure I do this scenario correctly. Of course, I'll be plopping a save at Horton-in-Ribblesdale anyway, because that's what I normally do. But this one should be doable without having to work from a save. And again, having the save is a good idea in case something happens, like your game decides to crash as you enter Settle. Then you have to redo the whole thing if you don't have a save. But with the save, you can actually just pick up where you left off. Oh, I didn't mean to break that much, but I'm going to have to stop soon anyway, so maybe it's not a bad idea. But we shouldn't need to break quite yet. We have a full minute to work with, so I'm going to let the brakes start to come off a little bit here. Not too much, but I'm going to have to eventually do a hard brake because we are on a downhill. Now let's add the brake. And I am going to need a hard brake now. Green signal. And that'll be the last signal indication for that signal tonight. So now we're applying a hard brake here. I've eased it off so we get to the end of the platform if possible. Not quite, but it's good enough. So arrival at Horton-in-Ribblesdale, platform number 1 for our second passenger stop of this part of the journey. Leaving Horton-in-Ribblesdale, our final stop of the night is at Settle. So in about 6 miles from now, we can go ahead and hang up our reverser for the night. Also notice that because we're working 6 miles and we still have to get up to the speed limit, this is going to be a very tight stop. So I'm going to potentially have to stop this train very early in the platform to make the timing on time, if I can even do that. Not getting to the end of the platform on the previous stop is now something I'm starting to regret. So I've once again removed my throttle completely. I'm going to have to stay slightly higher than my previous, excuse me, slightly higher than my previous setup here. I'm going to actually go into 60 a little bit here, and then I'm going to use the brakes. A little risky, but I have to maintain the mile per minute setup here. If I'm going to have any hope of being on time, I have to stay at 60. So yeah, there's no room in this timetable at all. Don't listen to what they said in the last scenario. There's no padding in the timetable. Absolutely none. Oh, we're not on the downhill at this time, so we're going to have one in a second. I'm not panicking too much yet. Putting a little bit of power on so we don't lose too much speed. Because I kind of need to stay at 60 right now. It's not working in my favor. Now I'm actually losing speed on a 1 in 200 gradient, which is normal. It's not strong enough to really apply that much speed to you, but 1 in 100 is. So here it comes again. Again, who is braking around me? My brakes are not that strong. There must be some kind of industry in this area. I wonder if that's an industry noise. So we just crossed 3 miles to go. This is going to be incredibly tight. This one's annoying enough that I might try to edit it. I haven't decided yet, but I'm actually thinking I might do it just because this one is annoying enough. If I edit it, I'm changing my points as well, without question. But I'm also going to have to put the Armstrong Powerhouse 158 in because it probably behaves a lot better on this than the train that comes with the route does. So we have to make our stop in about 1 minute here. 1.5 minutes to be exact. You can see how tough that's going to be. I've been riding the speed limit the whole way here, except for the small stretch where we lost our downhill. But I've been riding this speed limit all the way. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Ding dong. Attention passengers, please buckle your seatbelts. We're going to be having a hard break here to ensure that we are on time. I've just been told you don't have seatbelts. Okay, hang on to the seats with both hands. Thank you. I'm trying to figure out when to start braking. Now seems to be the time to start braking. So hard brake now. I might still be a little early on that now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, I do not like this. I think we're going to be able to pull it off here. Wherever we end up, we end up. This might count as being on time. Get those doors open quickly. They are open at 21:13:56. Let's see how that turned out as we finish our journey at Settle. So we'll take one more look at the view from Settle, heading towards the west, I believe that is. Another look at the sunset, which is now pretty much less sunset and more sky. You can see a little tint of orange there, but not much. Even if we change the view, I think we're not going to see as much. So, yeah, that was a little iffy, wasn't it? We might still not have a perfect score on this, which would be 900 points. But you can see why people don't like the early career scenarios. Career scenarios got a bad following because of scenarios like this, I believe. Again, thank you is apparently one word. They must have done a copy pasta on this. Thank you, driver. You have performed all required stops to the scheduled timetable. Exact same message as the previous scenarios. They must have had a copy and paste thing going on here. In any case, that is the final stop of these first two career scenarios, the two-part journey. Let's see if we did this on time, shall we? That was apparently good enough. So 900 points, joining the throng of people who have done that. That did not seem that easy, though. I would not have been surprised if I saw anyone on my friends list with a score of 899 because, or 898 or something like that. Because that last stop was incredibly tight. I wonder if there was actually additional room built into the stop that we didn't see. That you could stop at in the next minute, very early in the next minute, you would still be on time. I wonder. I don't know. But I wonder that. Very, very interesting detail. In any case, that's the end of that. So, what are we going to do next time? I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do scenario number 6 or not. Now that I have a little bit of room for the trip out I need to make, I just need to get these uploaded and get these ready to publish for you. Whether I'm going to do scenario 6, I'm undecided. I have to see what I feel like doing. I know scenario 6 uses the same train, so it would make sense to come back and do scenario 6 just to keep using this train. But I also noticed that scenario 10 also uses this train. And I have half a mind in scenario number 10. I'm just going to talk very briefly about it, and then we'll wrap up. Scenario number 10 is a 100-minute scenario working a real timetable service on an autumn evening with a 3-car. And we're not going to be doing that scenario for a little while, but when we get to that scenario, I have half a mind by then. And not only then, but also for 11 and 12, which are Class 37. And there's also a Jubilee, which we don't have a replacement for, but at least a Class 37, and maybe 9, which is also a 37, 8, which is a 66, 7, which is a 37. There's a possibility at some point we're going to start replacing the trains in these scenarios with newer versions of the hardware, so to speak. The Class 37 that comes with the route I will have to show you at some point. I don't want to do these scenarios out of order, so I'm not going to skip ahead to that for Tuesday. And I'm probably not going to do it on Wednesday either. That's waking up the neighbors. It's also a 95-minute scenario. But so I'm probably going to, when I come back to sell to Carlisle, if it's not on Tuesday, I'm probably going to go ahead and do the other scenario like this with the train that is included, the 158. I'm probably going to do number 7 with the 37 that's included. But when I get to Left Behind, Midwinter Rescue, Settle Down, and Uphill Struggle, I'm probably going to change the equipment. So 2 of those being Class 37 scenarios. I'm probably going to change the equipment to the Armstrong Powerhouse versions. We're going to get to eventually the Jubilee and taking stock. We'll have to do that one. We're going to have to do the Ribble Runaround with the 4F. I'm not going to... I could swap in a digital traction model, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, again, it's the only scenario that uses it, so we'll use the one that comes with the route. And Contingency Measures, which is the bonus scenario, also a 158 that I can swap out for a 40-minute scenario if I decide to. So we have a number of scenarios I can swap the equipment on and get better equipment on. What I might do, I'm thinking about doing the next 2 scenarios on Tuesday and Wednesday only to get the old stock scenarios I want to play out of the way. And then when I come back, I can come back with new stock versions of the other scenarios, and then we're going to go from there with that section of the Let's Play on this route. So that's what I might do. I might come back on Tuesday, Wednesday, do the next 2 scenarios, in which case I've got 95 minutes and an old Class 37 to enjoy. Yay! Anyway, that does have a career form as well, so I have concerns after the Portsmouth Direct Line scenario that 37 is going to have problems with being able to with what's the term I want to use, with wheel slip. I have concerns the 37 might have wheel slip problems trying to accelerate, so we'll see. I might have to turn off wheel slip penalties on that run. I know how to do that now, so worst case scenario we can do that. But for right now, let's go ahead and just wrap up here. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever it is for your part of the world. I'll see you next time for more Let's Play Train Simulator, possibly back here on the Settle Carlisle line, undecided. But I kind of want to get the next couple scenarios done because they are also career scenarios. So we'll see if we can do that. I'm Cyclone. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Bye-bye.